Nick Pizzolato's True Detective, which returned on Sky Atlantic on Monday. It's the third season, and I'm going to butcher the Oscar nominee's name, and I don't want to. How do you pronounce it correctly?
Mahershala Ali, I think.
Mahershala Ali. He's there playing a cop in 3 different timelines, as True Detective likes to do. It revolves around the disappearance of 2 young children, a brother and a sister, in 1980s in the Ozark region. The character he plays over 3 generations, so there's the investigation of the missing children, then there's him in the 90s, where he's told by his colleagues that they found the wrong man and put the wrong person behind bars, and then there's the third timeline where a much older character is struggling with dementia and struggling to remember important things about his life, who is being interviewed for a sort of Making the Murderer style series on the case, as it was very high profile. These 3 storylines intertwined together. That's a bugbear of mine when we do flashbacks, flash forwards, because it can be a bit jarring, but I did think it was one of the aspects of this that worked. But Chris, do you have a history with this show anyway? And if not, what did you think of this first episode?
Yeah, well, I do. I've watched it since the beginning, and I think my opinion of it is similar to many other people's. Loved the first series. Really compelled by that. Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson were just absolutely wonderful. And then the second series was, for me personally, a real disappointment. Thought series 1 always trod a fine line, like many great shows do. It trod a fine line between being really pompous and self-important and silly. It flirted with that, but it kept it on the right side, and it kept it captivating, and it was heady, and it was very rich, and just really absorbing. And then series 2, it was just the po-faced, self-important stuff without being absorbing. And it made me wonder how important it made me believe that the importance of Cary Fukunaga, who directed series 1, who has obviously done Maniac and is going to do the new Bond film. I think maybe looking back, he really made series 1 because it looked absolutely incredible. And he didn't direct series 2, but series 3, I think it's a return to form. I don't think it's hit the heights of series 1. I still think Nick Pizzolato enjoys some scenes, enjoys writing, and I don't really enjoy watching them. They can be very slow, self-important scenes, characters having deep and meaningful heart-to-hearts, and you're thinking, there's a missing girl.
Let's save this for another time.
Yeah, exactly. But I've really enjoyed it. I will confess, I've seen the first 5 episodes. Obviously, I won't give any spoilers away. And it's remained compelling. Mahershala Ali is just wonderful. Really, really compelling. The old man makeup he's wearing in the 2015 storyline isn't too annoying. But I'm really enjoying the presence of former 80s, early 90s idol Stephen Dorff.
Yeah.
Really good in a very difficult role, I think, because Mahershala Ali really dominates everything. And in the first couple of episodes, you can think of Stephen Dorff's character as being a little underwritten, I think. But I think his character comes into his own as the series progresses. What I do have to say is 5 episodes in, I'm still not 100% sure if it's good or not.
This is my problem, because I watched the first one and I had the option to watch the next 2 actually, so I was given 3, and I didn't know whether I was being enamoured by a good performance that was heightening the material and giving it a different level, or whether when I stripped the timelines away, whether there was actually much story to be told. And so I decided not to, and I haven't so far regretted the decision of not watching more, because I think although he's fantastic, the story's quite basic. It's not as layered as perhaps the first one was, and I didn't feel the pacing helped me at all. I don't mind glacial pacing at times, but I felt like this wasn't as tied to its setting. I didn't think the direction was as sort of engaging as the first lot. I sort of found the first one quite a slog to get through, really, if I'm brutally honest. despite that really engaging performance from Mahershala. That's my feelings on it. I mean, you sort of at the I've seen 5, so I'll watch 6, 7, and 8 sort of feel.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I will watch the next 3, and I'll let everyone know on episode 8. I'll be able to say whether,
because there's nothing worse, is there? Like we said earlier, of spending your time and hoping that something's going to turn out one way, and then realizing, oh, it was a lot of hot air. And I felt like there was a sense of that based on just the one I saw.
Yeah, I completely sympathise with that point of view, and I think partly the reason for that is Series 2.
The ghost of Series 2.
The ghost of Series 2. I mean, it stank the place out, and the odour is still in the air when you're watching episode 1 of the new series. So you're thinking, this is a bit slow, it's a bit ponderous, it's a bit self-important. What does this remind me of? Oh, it reminds me of Series 2. Even though, in terms of setup and storyline, it's almost identical to Series 1, funnily enough. Yeah. Almost a sort of homage to Series 1. But one thing about it that's keeping me hooked is the portrayal of race and race relations in the storylines. Obviously, because Mahershala Ali is black, and in the 1980 storyline, the society he's living in is quite racist and quite segregated, and he is on a par with his white detective partner, career-wise, but they are talked to very differently by people. They are treated very differently by people. They have to approach people completely differently. There's one point, I can't remember what episode it's in, where Mahershala Ali complains. He said, I put forward a theory and they blew it out of the water. And he says, Stephen Dorff, you should have said it, because you're a white man. They wouldn't have blown the theory out of the water, and it keeps it up in the 1990 story, in the 1990 timeline, and there are echoes of it in the 2015 as well. So for me, that is keeping me in there, because I think it's being handled quite well. Though, as I say, end of episode 5, I'm still on a knife edge.
If you tell me that episode 8, everything all comes together, because there was a twist at the end of episode 1, which we won't spoil. I'd not seen that done before, and it go in that direction, so that did intrigue me. But it's the sort of thing where, on this occasion, I'm happy to let other people say, yes, spend your time on this, because it's worth it. I'd rather you take the bullet for me, if you don't mind, on this one.
Absolutely. We live in peak TV times. We all have to sort of do our fair share of the legwork for each other. We can't watch everything.
And Matt, how did you feel?
Mainly the same. I did feel it was the Mahershala Ali show sort of thing. There's 3 different versions of that character of Wayne Hayes, but I thought by the end of episode 1, I think you felt he was a fully defined character. I really liked the extended scene where he finds. I shouldn't spoil it, really. I was going to go into. There's a breakthrough in the case. Let's just say you find out that he was in long-range reconnaissance in the army, and that sort of brings into play his ability to find clues that other detectives can't, perhaps, and that leads him to a big discovery in the case. So I loved that scene. I think he is a tremendous screen presence. And you get little bits about his character. There's this issue around his memory. One of the first things he says is, I've got a brilliant memory, even though this happened 10 years ago. But by the 2015 scenes, you've got stuff being read into a tape recorder for him. And I agree as well with Chris about the old man makeup didn't annoy me too much. I think I'm going to continue it and see where it goes. There was enough in there for me, definitely.
True Detective is on Sky Atlantic on Mondays at 9 p.m. Do watch it, and as we say, Chris, you're gonna have to take the baton for that. If you tell me that episode 8, because even series 1 was kind of open-ended, and I have to say I don't want that much ambiguity. So if there's an ending where you think that blew my proverbial socks off, and I have to tell the world, then make sure I'm one of the people in the world you tell.
I will. There'll be an announcement on Twitter.
There you go.
I'll just sit by my computer until the announcement comes in.